You're listening to The Broken Meeple Show, a podcast that speaks passionately about board games for the benefit of those who play them. My name's Luke Hector, best known for the Broken Meeple YouTube channel, and I'm an everyday gamer just like you. And I'll be talking about reviews, top 10s, and just about anything that connects me to board games, as long as I have a tea or coffee in hand, that is. So grab a cup, relax, and enjoy. And remember, it's only a game. Hi everybody, Luke Hector here for another podcast, fresh back from my little holiday excursion. Yeah, I mean, I've already had a fairly exhausting game day, a massive exhausting day of chores and laundry and getting stuff tidied and things like that, but, you know, I've had good bits in between that and all. But yeah, I already feel tired and I feel like I need another holiday, but even though I've just had one. So yes, I did go to Prague for Sunday through to Thursday, enjoyed my time massively. I mean, Thursday was maybe a little bit of a meh, but yeah, that was like the kind of wind down day before I was due to get a very late flight, so I just did minimal activity that day, although I did go to a beer spa. That was kind of weird. You sort of bathe in a hot tub with stuff that's got beer making extracts and ingredients and things. It's kind of weird. But, you know, kind of surreal. But if you've kept up to date with my Facebook, but particularly my Instagram, you will actually see a lot of the photos I took while I was there. So I did a Bohemian landscape hike. I did a pub tour. That was like a little history lesson combined with drinking different beers at pubs. The Pilsner Urquell experience. I am now of the mindset that Czechia, as they apparently call themselves over there, not necessarily the Czech Republic, I now stand that they make the best beers. Hands down. Look, Belgium, you make pretty good beers too. But the Czech have got the gold crown for this. You know, no, I'm not even the massive beer lover normally, and I think that's just because English beers suck. So if I like a beer, it's going to be European. So Belgium do good ones, Poland have done good ones. You know, give some credit to them. But I don't know. Maybe I would probably say Poland's third, Belgium's second, but then Czech is like first by a country mile. You know, all their beers taste quite refreshing, you know, as a beer, particularly Pilsner. Pilsner Urquell was just like a bit of a, wow, okay, this is a very smooth beer. I never thought I would drink a beer where you could have nearly the whole glass as foam. And it still works. I mean, you look at their, was it Hakinder, Schnitt, and Milko pour methods. You know, Milko is basically like, I mean, it's Czech for milk, I believe, and so it pretty much is 90% of the glass is foam. If you poured something like that in an English pub, I'm pretty sure they would punch you in the face. You know, it'd be insane. So that was pretty sweet. The zoo, fantastic. Oh man, so many animals, so many species, so many cool things to see there. That was amazing. What else? The shooting range, got to try 10 guns. You know, as somebody who's never fired anything more than an airsoft rifle, that was a bit of a wake-up call as to how much movies lie to you, but also respect for anybody who actually does use guns in a legitimate way, you know, like in the armed forces and stuff, because, blimey, you've got to practice with these things. Not only just, I mean, my aim was actually pretty good for someone who's never fired a gun before, it seems, but the fact of the matter is, this is in a shooting range where no one's trying to fire at you. You know, the fact that, and this is doing single shots with things like AK-47s and an, I think it was an SR-15 or AR-15, I can't remember, but it was like a automatic rifle of some description, you know, Winchester shotgun, you know, a proper shotgun. Was it a Spaz? I'm not sure, but it was you know, a proper shooting thing. So yeah, respect for anybody who can use them well. You know, bearing in mind in the UK we don't have a gun around every single, like, you know, table. Sorry, that was my phone rumbling. I'll just put that on silent. Yep, turn the phone off there, sorry. But yeah, so yeah, generally the holiday was really good. Check out my Instagram for more stuff on the photos. Prague's a very cool city, looks lovely. I thought it was going to be cheaper than I had aspirations that it was going to be really cheap to do everything there, but it seems that it's comparable, if not slightly more expensive than UK. It kind of depends. I mean, certain things were. I mean, I remember getting a manicure because I had my nails, like, you know, in a good state, you know, there. And it was only like a tenner by equivalent. So that was really cheap. But then I remember getting like just basically a large baguette meal with double meat and some chips and a drink on the side or something, and it costing nearly 10 quid. I mean, it's kind of weird. There's some disparities there, and certainly having meals out can be quite expensive. So it just depends, I think, where you are. So there is like an aspect of being in the old town area is naturally going to be more expensive. It's more touristy. If you go to the outskirts, it'd be a bit cheaper. I don't know. I was hanging around the center more often than not. But, it's not like it was crazy expensive, but I do remember spending quite a bit on this holiday, even though most of that was excursions. I mean, the whole holiday has cost me quite a bit, but that's because I was booking a lot of excursions, the hike day, the beer spa, the tours, the ranger shooting. I mean, these are expensive excursions to do, a lot of them. So I was really doing a big tick off bucket list holiday. If I go to Prague for a second time, I wouldn't be doing a lot of those again. So those would not factor into the cost. And Prague Zoo is like a £10 a ticket or 10-15 quid a ticket for a whole day. I mean, that's cheap as chips. So it's it was just the fact that I was doing a lot of expensive stuff. I mean, a day's hiking tour, a beer spa, and a ranger shooting thing. You're talking about 150 quid to go on all three of those things individually. So it's pretty insane in that regard. There we go, light on, so it's not quite so dark in here, it seems. But yeah, so Prague was really good. So in terms of the channel updates for that, let me share my lovely big screen with the population of the world. Ooh, 10 of you. But yes, so in terms of the channel, some good videos lately, actually. So since last time, only a couple of videos, because obviously the holiday was a big deal, but Shallow Sea speed review is up. Some reasonable reviews for views for a speed review, and Ader's Dream. So that's a bit of a hottish one. I mean, 2,500 is not a lot of views for over a week and a bit in the limelight, but maybe the closer we get to Essen, the more popular that will get, because that is a full review, detailed review for a game that Alley Cat Games has had on Kickstarter and is releasing at Essen. And I was pretty positive about it, so by all means check out that video if you want to know more about that Euro game. But yeah, not a lot of content, because obviously a week I was away, so there was only so much I could do. But I got a lot of games to get played. I mean, I've got, let's see, I got Baghdad that needs to be done, also from Alley Cat. I'm trying to play through Skara Brae and Anarchy from Garfield Games. They're not review copies, but I still want to talk about them, like speed review style. I've got not from Board and Dice, I got it from my sponsor Kiender, but Tianxia or whatever it is. It's the new one from Board and Dice, the sort of the Daniel Tassini one. I believe Mark Monk at Ninja Geek Games has been going on about it recently, so that should be interesting to try. Any other games on top of that at the moment? Not currently, I don't think. I'm just looking around the room. I do have a very secret one from Garfield Games, and it's not one that they've announced recently, but I can't talk anything more about that under pain of death. Unlike some people, I do actually respect an embargo, so, no more information on that one. But yeah, there's some interesting games for me to do, but I gotta play a lot of them, so bear with me, guys. It just might take me a little while, and it's not helped by the fact that October is my busiest month. Next weekend it's Shake, Battle and Roll, so that's a weekend taken up with a Southampton convention. The Saturday, I'm expecting to get taught Europa Universalis, the big one that was on my top 10 games I want to play list. So finally, I might actually be getting that played, hopefully taught to me and a friend. So that could be an interesting Saturday with the whole day taken up with that game. Other than that, though, also Essen. Obviously, Essen is coming up, so that's going to take out a whole week worth of time. So there's a lot of days where I'm a bit busy in October. So as I say, content is coming. It's just you got to bear with me. I'm a bit busier than I used to be back a year or two ago in terms of social activity, and October is probably my busiest month of the year, where I just have a lot of stuff going on. November, I've got a day where my parents are visiting, and GridCon, and that's it. That is it. So nothing else in November. And December, I got sod all. Like, there's no plans in December. So October is just a busy month. It just happens to go that way. A bit of coffee. I can feel my throat going already. Blimey. Must be because of yesterday. I was teaching Galactic Cruise, and the game took a lot longer than it should have done. Like a game that normally takes about 3 hours when you teach it to 3 new people. I swear it took twice that because of breaking the dinner and interruptions and people constantly chatting to other people. And it's just like, ooh, just come by the table. I mean, seriously, if people are in a game and someone's teaching the game, or they're in the middle of their turn or something, maybe like read the room and come and have your conversation when they're not taking their turn. So many times they just barge in and say, "Oh, you're dead. I want to talk about this for about 20 minutes." Excuse me. He's like, he's taking his turn. We're waiting for him to finish. Could you wait? It's just, it just got really annoying. But I was starting to lose my rag a bit. I was so tired by the end of it. I was expecting to get a game of Great Western Trail New Zealand in as well during the time I was there. But nope, most of it got taken up by that Galactic Cruise game. So I was like, ugh. I think Galactic Cruise could definitely be a contender to have been inserted on my top 10 games I don't want to play with noobs list. I love the game. Love the game, but it's starting to become more of a I want to play this with people who know the game type one, or play solo instead, despite its swingy nature. Because trying to teach Galactic Cruise to 3 new people is a chore, an absolute chore. But okay, so that's content-wise, and how are we doing on the subs? 26,623, not too bad. Let's keep it going. So first up, let's talk about quickly a game that I've played before we get on to the Essen preview stuff. I'm not intending to do like a tips for Essen thing, because I've said that on every single video, and frankly, it never really changes. I mean, we'll get to that later. But here's a game I've played. And last time I talked about a few games I found quite positive, Moon Colony and Digit Code, and I forget what the other one was, but I think I was talking about it relatively positively, so like they weren't too bad. Well, let's go back to form and talk about a piece of absolute rotting trash. Deep Regrets. If you like this game, I do question some of your decision making. I'm sorry. This game is trash. A friend of mine got a copy of it, and he was just curious to try it out. So we basically sort of half taught it from the rule book, effectively. But there's not that many rules in it. It was pretty easy to get that. So that was not a big deal. But this is a game that pretty much should be a 30-minute game. Like, it really only should be a 30-minute game, because it is predominantly a push your luck game with too many things in it. And yet the time rating says 30 to 150 minutes. This is a game that claims it's going to be anywhere between half an hour to 2.5. What planet are you on where that is a decent time bandwidth? And even then, solo, I would question you'd be able to play this in 30 minutes. 3 of us barely got this done in 2 hours or something, because we were like learning that one. So, yes, we might be able to get it down to 90 minutes, but this is not a game that warrants even 90 minutes. Even 60 minutes, I'd be like, come on. This is a push your luck game where the majority of the game is either unbalanced or just luck fest. Why is this a game that can take 2.5 hours? I don't care if the designer, did his own artwork and ran a very good Kickstarter campaign. All right, kudos for doing that. But that does not automatically make me love your game like it seems to be doing with a few people here. Weight 2.38. Only because it's basically got far too many mechanics shoved in it for what is basically a push your luck. So what do you actually do in this game? Well, it's basically a fishing game. So you each have a character board with room to put some trophy fish catches, and you have these 3 weird looking polyhedral dice. I don't know, they look a bit like the rocket dice out of Alien Frontiers or something, but they're weird shaped dice. And you've got space for a rod and a reel as upgrades, and basically you roll the dice. They're numbered 1 to 3, and these dictate what actions you can do and how good these actions are. Right? This aspect is entirely random. Okay, right, just bear this in mind. And what you do is that you basically decide, how deep do I want to go? And you spend dice in order to move any deeper into the depths. But you have 3 columns of cards. You flip one over and you decide if you want to catch it or not. It could be a nice fish, it could be a foul fish. Foul fish basically being something that's kind of been messed up by the origins of Cthulhu, because it is basically a Cthulhu-themed game, go figure. And, the foul fish aren't necessarily bad, but they get you what's called an unrest card. And, the idea is that you have this chart where the value of the fish increases if you're not unrest in terms of fair fish, but the foul fish get more value if you have a lot of unrest. But if you have the most unrest at the end of the game, you lose your prize catch, which could be about, could be a decent amount of points, okay? So the idea is that basically you just flip a card, do some random effects, decide if you want to catch it. That depends on what you rolled. So you don't have to roll again, but you still can only catch a fish if you happen to roll well. I mean, if you rolled 1s, then good luck trying to catch anything. You better have rolled high, because that is basically high values are the best, period. And, that's basically what you do. from turn to turn. The regret cards have numbers 0 to 2, I believe, and you basically collect these in secret, so you don't know. You know how many regret cards you've got for the purposes of this chart, but you don't know how much regret you've got compared to the other players for the penalty at the end. And you can go back to town, get some upgrades, which are done at random. You basically pay some money that you earned from the fish you sold, and then you get these upgrade cards, but you pick so many off the top and choose 1 or 2, depending on how much you paid. So it's random. And then with these cards, you might have a card that says game 2 of this. And then you might have another card that says game 3 of this. There's no other difference between the cards. It's just there are cards that are fundamentally better than other cards. So again, luck. See where I'm going with this. And that's basically the game. Rinse, repeat until I believe... what is it? Is it Dex run out? Or no, it's not Dex run out. It's something in this game triggers the end. Oh no, it's so many rounds. Yeah, you play over like 6 old rounds or something. But that's basically it. You get these fish. If they're in your hand, they're worth money. You can put some above your board to make them like ×2, ×3 or whatever. And you just got to be careful about that regret thing. But this game is a drawn out piece of trash. I hated this game every moment. I mean, firstly, all these mechanics, there's loads of these little mechanics shoved in about, what you can do with the dice and the rod and reel mechanics and the prize catch, the trophy catch and the madness chart and, other little effects going on. There's a coin that you flip every now and again to resolve some effects. I mean, seriously, we've got coin flipping in a 2025 game. Are you friggin' serious? You've got this preserver that you can give. Also, the person with the highest rolls can give to a player. It doesn't have to be the one with the lowest values. Oh, no. The one with the lowest values might not get it. He can give the life preserver to whoever he likes. And it just makes it slightly easier to catch one fish, or you get a slight discount in the town. I mean, that's all it is. It's not a massive boost. But, that's essentially, some of the mechanics in the game. And the deeper you go, the more foul fish you get. The higher you go, the more fair fish you get. That's basically the deal. But the deeper areas will probably have more high-value fish generally. This game is such a bore fest, though. It's a bore fest, and it's just a luck-filled bore fest. There's nothing interesting on these cards except for the pictures. The artwork is pretty cool. There are some funky pictures of some of these foul fish, so I will give it credit for that. But... so I could say the artwork's half decent. Component quality is pretty basic. I mean, for a Kickstarter, this is pretty bare bones components-wise. Didn't even look like it was that easy to put back in the box from when I was seeing my mate try and do it. The boards are nothing to be speaking of. The cards themselves, the dice are pretty basic. You get different versions of the dice, that just have different values, but that's about it. They're just basic wood. And, the fact... I mean, you've got this problem with a lot of this stuff being random. You've got coin flipping effects. You've got random what fish you grab. Yes, these items might help you, but then some are fundamentally better than others. So you might pull rubbish items. You might pull the best items ever. The regret, the values you get on them are entirely random, as to whether they're 0, 1, or 2. So that doesn't help what you roll. I mean, your difficulty to catch stuff is based on having a high value, right? There is no benefit in having low value dice. Nothing in the game, from what I saw, benefits you having low dice. So if you roll like 3 1s, tough. Yes, you might get the life preserver. That's it. But if you roll 3 1s and somebody rolls 3 3s, they inherently have a better round than you do. And there's only like 6 rounds. And there's only so much ways to mitigate the dice rolls. So again, why? But this whole madness chart thing, with the selling of fish at high value if it's fair, low regret, blah, blah, blah. This chart is meaningless. It totally is meaningless because I decided, okay, if you're going to put in a chart that says we can do a fair or a foul fish thing, so in fairness, you should have a strategy that can work with fair fish and with foul fish because otherwise what's the point of the chart? And, yes, you've got that penalty at the end, but there should be a penalty. That's the whole point if the foul fish are slightly better. It means no difference. I had a strategy where I basically went, I'm going to go for low regret and I'm going to sell fair fish only at really high values. Okay? And I managed to. I had pretty good money from that sense. The fair fish don't have as many points on them generally as the foul fish can, especially not the deepest ones. And, I was making a decent amount of money and I had cards out and I had lowest regret. The problem is the highest value boost you can get from the fair value thing, it requires you to have no regret whatsoever. But when you flip cards, there are random effects that affect all players. So somebody else goes and I sit on a round, I've got no regret cards. Fantastic. All my fish are +2 value. This is great. And I've been careful to avoid taking regret. Nice. You might just accidentally turn up a fish that gives you a regret. Sucks, but alright, I'll try and get rid of it. But then you have 0 regret another time, and near the end of the game, somebody flips a fish or two that says all players get a regret. So I end up with regret cards purely by random chance from other players. And if the players are going for high regret, that doesn't bug them, but it bugs me trying to do a different strategy. So that's complete BS. And then on top of that, the amount of regret that you can just gain where it doesn't matter is ridiculous. I mean, one guy literally drained out nearly the whole deck of regret cards, right? We knew he was going to have the penalty at the end, but it didn't matter. Because a lot of the foul fish cards and stuff at the deeper range allow you to refresh dice and get more actions and stuff. They're just inherently better powers. So he had all that regret, but it didn't matter because he was able to sit at the bottom depth and just farm foul fish constantly. So even though his prize catch went away because he had the most regret, it didn't matter. He still had 20 more points than I did. So the penalty doesn't matter. The other person who had a decent amount of regret gets to keep their prize catch came third. Came third to me, and not by that much. And I don't think they were playing that well anyway, so chances are I think they should have come second, honestly, with the fair fish strategy, but I must have got lucky on a few bits. But yeah, so the whole thing of, be careful, you'll lose your prize catch, doesn't matter, because the value of your fish is so great that the ones in your hand and the other 2 that you still have as trophies are going to dwarf everything else. So yeah, you lost your prize catch. Who cares? It's stupid. It's so stupid. This game is trash. I don't like this game at all. And I question why it was getting so popular. This was getting a lot of buzz. People say, "Oh, have you played Deep Regrets? It's a really cool light game or something." Light-ish. I mean, the rules explanation takes a fair while because when you think you've got the game sussed, suddenly there's like, but there's this rule, and this rule, and this rule, and this rule. It's like, I thought this was meant to be like a really light, simple push-your-luck game or something. It's like, it's not. It's a fiddly push-your-luck game that basically drags on for ages and ages before the time frame is done. There's downtime on your turn because there's sod all for you to do when it's someone else's turn apart from take random regret cards. And, if you're in the town, your actions are pretty boring anyway. The actions themselves aren't that interesting. Flip a card and see what it does. And this is a game that with 5 players, and we played this with 3 and it was a drag. I can imagine playing this with 5 players and having it take 2.5 hours could be something I would see on one of the inner layers of hell. Like, why the hell would you play a game like this for 2.5 hours? And people defend it by going, "Oh, it's all right. It's like a beer and pretzels game. You just play that." No. Beer and pretzels games should still be relatively short because you don't have that much of an attention span when you've had a ton of drink. And even then, there are far better beer and pretzel games. I mean, most party games are better beer and pretzel games for that kind of, definition. This is just a waste of space. I hate it. It's one of the worst games probably the worst game I've played this year, easily. And I played a few bangers, but this one is definitely the worst. The joke is that you play a game called Deep Regrets and you say, "I have regretted playing this game." Well, I don't care if that's a cordy joke. I'm saying that myself. I deeply regret spending 90 minutes to 2 hours of my day playing this piece of trash. Don't like it. Never want to play it again. I can't understand why it was getting a lot of popular buzz. Just because you run a good Kickstarter campaign, just because you shove Cthulhu on it, it doesn't make for a great game, okay? Lots of Kickstarter campaigns have been quite successful and still churned out bad games, okay? So this one, I don't know what people are seeing in it, honestly. I mean, this one was getting... Was it no other game makes you regret as much? Well, boy, yeah, it's not a true statement if ever I heard it. But, I mean, who's been hyping this one up? Because I've heard a load of people sort of go, "Oh, yeah, this is a nice game," and I've seen it being played in various places. But has any creator been hyping this up? No, foreign, European, nobody. Nobody. Oh, wait, well, there's the Meeple University. Didn't Dice Tower do a review of this? I'm certain Dice Tower did a review of this. Deep Regret's my favorite recommend. I'm sorry, Stonemaier, if this is one of your favorite mechanism games or something like that, then you have got problems. But oh yeah, yeah, Dice Tower did a review. So what did they say on it? Let's just whoop, there we go. So what was the verdicts they had there? So yeah, they had 666 when they did it or something. This is not even an above average game. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. This is absolute trash and I never want to play it again. So rant over. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Whew, God. Feels good to get a rant out every now and again. And yeah, God, I hated that so much. So, yes, after we get off that load of trash, let's go to Spiel Essen. So I'm not going to do a massive tips thing for Essen, because if you watch any of my Essen previews, particularly the last couple of years, I've already done Essen tips to save my life. I mean, it's standard information, okay? It's big halls, take comfy footwear. You're going to be walking miles and miles and miles. You're going to need comfy footwear. Take snacks. Food and drink is sometimes inaccessible or just too expensive and mostly unhealthy. So by all means, take snacks, feed yourself through the day on snacks, and get yourself dinner after the event and have yourself a big breakfast. Works better than getting lunch at the event, seriously. And take a lot of water. Getting the coffee every now and again is good if you need caffeine, but water, 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 water. You got to stay hydrated in those halls. It can get pretty warm. It's going to get busy. Saturday, if you're planning to go for the convention and you're planning to spend 4 days, like 4 or 5 days in Essen, and you want to do some sightseeing, Saturday is your sightseeing day. Saturday is an absolute cluster. It really is so bad on Saturdays. You will get a lot of people in there. It'll be chock-a-block in nearly every hall. Hall 3 will be non impossible to walk around. If you're going to skip a day of the convention, you skip Saturday. What else is there? If you're really hankering for a game that you particularly want or want a demo, do it first. Get it early. Do it on the days that aren't busy, because trust me, people have got the similar ideas. You need to get there, and you need to be prepared to run if need be. Don't take giant bags. They're starting to get a bit more hyped on security these days. And honestly, if you are walking around with one of those drum Cajun bags on your back, or worse, if you are carrying trolleys and strollers and things like that are there so you can carry your bags as opposed to your child, and stuff like that, then we are going to hate you. I'm sorry, but, those things take up a lot of space. They get in everyone's way. People trip over them and injure themselves. And in places like Hall 3 particularly, and Hall 1, is Hall 3, Hall 1, and Hall 3 and Hall 1, basically. Maybe Hall 2 to some extent. Those halls particularly, if you are seen with those trolleys, you're going to get a lot of looks. People aren't going to like you because you are just in the way. When Hall 3 is chock-a-block already, where people can barely move as figures normally, even with just bags that they're carrying, like normal carrier bags that the places give you, you could barely move. If you're trying to squeeze through that in a trolley, A, you're going to find it very difficult to do that, and B, you aren't going to make any friends there. Trust me on that one. I used to take a Cajun drum bag in early day conventions for Essen. I stopped doing that after a while when I realized, I'm actually just getting in people's way, because every time I turn, I'm just basically clubbing someone in the head. So I stopped doing that now. I basically drive to Essen now so that I can carry stuff in carrier bags. If I'm helping at a booth, I can drop stuff at the booth, which is quite nice, but given the security measures at Essen, I'm a little bit phased about that. But because I drive, I now just, when I've got too much to carry, I go to my car, dump stuff in the car, come back, get more stuff, dump in the car, come back, whatever. It's secure. It's, there's people who watch the doors around the some of the parking entrances and stuff. And it just means that you can get it out of the way and you're not having to carry it everywhere. If you have a car, use it. If you live close in a hotel, you might even consider just hopping on the metro, going back to the hotel, dumping stuff and coming back, because the convention's open all day. There's a decent amount of time, especially if you're hungry. I mean, if you're feeling a bit hungry and you've got a bunch of games that you've bought for the morning, right? Why don't you just go outside? Takes a few minutes. Well, maybe it'll take longer. It depends where you're in the halls. But go outside, hop on the metro to the city centre near where your hotel is. Metro will take you minutes, once it arrives. It's pretty regular throughout the day. And then you can drop your bags off in your hotel room. You don't have to carry them anymore. You can get some lunch, feed yourself, probably cheaper and better than doing it in the Essen Messe Hall. And then you just hop on the metro, get back, done. You could literally leave, drop the stuff back off, have a decent quick lunch, and get back in an hour. Is that really going to kill you? Yeah, just try that. What else? What are the tips? Can't think of much. I mean, demo tables are limited, so you want to get on the demo, you need to be relatively quick. Check if the place books demos, and if they do, consider doing that, because booking a demo will be nice and organized. Although bearing in mind, some of them only release the bookings for the next day, the very morning of the convention, so you might have to actually go early to the place that is doing bookings so that you can actually book a time for later in the day. It's a pain, but sometimes I think publishers have to do it in order to try and meet demand. It is a pain. And a little unfair for people who are public, because it means that people who get to go in earlier kind of nick a few of those times, although some publishers have been wise to that and basically saying, right, we're not going to open the bookings until 9 o'clock, i.e. when people turn up. So you don't get an advantage for getting in early, which is kind of annoying, because it means if you can get in early, what was the point? But it is more fair to the general public, so I'm kind of more for it than against, really. What else? Anything else about the convention that you need to know? I mean, last time there was a meet and play event where you could meet creators and maybe have a little game with them and stuff like that. It's run by a third party, and it's a nice idea, but I'm not going to it this time round. I tried it last year and it was a complete dud. I met a few people max. Most creators I can see outside of the convention. I don't need to meet up with them there. And it was just basically one giant room, no refreshments, no water, just tables and chairs, grab what you like, sit in a noisy environment and just chat. And that's it. It just didn't feel like a decent meet and play event. It was too crowded, too unorganized. Was not a fan. So, honestly, more people I meet who are viewers of the channel just come up to me as I'm walking around or demoing a game or something and say hi. Perfectly fine. Just do that, because frankly, you've got more chance of meeting me that way than anything else, because I'm helping out on Drander games for half the convention anyway. So morning or afternoon, half of the day. I forget which way round I'm doing it on certain days, whether it's morning or afternoon, but there will be times where I'll be at the Drander Games booth demoing Jackpot, their new Kickstarter game. So you'll be able to find me at Drander Games if you're that desperate to quickly say hi. Obviously, if I'm trying to explain rules, be mindful, reading the room. But otherwise, yeah, quick little chat would be cool. Hoping to get one of those little microphone amplifier things for my waist. I've seen people use them so that my voice is raised, so that I don't have to keep raising my voice all the time, like now where I have to raise my voice and I'm kind of, getting an achy throat. My voice would be gone at Essen if I don't take one of those along. So my friend has given me some links to some that I can buy, so I need to check those out and see if I can buy one, because they will be invaluable. It will mean that I can talk normally and still project my voice loudly. It's going to be needed, because I think we're in Hall 3. It's pretty noisy. But yeah, just find me at Drander Games, or just come and say hi if you see me walking around, because I've got to buy games, I've got to demo stuff in my free time. I may be going to a meeting, but honestly, I don't have that many meetings, because I tend to meet most of the creators now at the press event the day before. So I meet them there. A few meetings I book, I tend to book them on the Saturday. So Saturday will be a tricky time to find me. But yeah, I've got a bunch of meetings back to back on Saturday, but not really any on the other days. And sometimes I don't really need to meet the publisher. I can just wander by the booth and say hi, or see them outside of the convention and that. And I don't desperately need to set up a 30-minute, 60-minute meeting with them all the time, especially if it's just picking up review copies. And even then, I'm not expecting a huge amount of review copies this year. Publishers, some of them are definitely giving me review copies, but then the thing is, some of them are giving me the review copies ahead of time. I mean, Ada's Dream, it's at Essen. I've already got it. Baghdad, already got it. March of the Ants. I'm supposedly supposed to be getting it before the convention, although that seems to have been delayed a bit. But again, supposed to be getting it in advance. Tianxia, it'll be at Essen. It's already released in the UK. So it's like, well, okay, I don't need to worry about that then. There's a bunch of games I'm getting that would normally be at Essen I don't need to be concerned about anymore. So there's, that reduces the need for meetings. So yeah, it's just come and say hi. if I'm looking for stuff, a lot of the time I may literally just be going, right, I've bought the games that I want to review. Thank you, patrons. Again, you keep this channel going. And, got my review copies from the publishers, got the ones that I want to buy to get reviewed because I know that I want to try them or the fans want me to review them. Stuff like Orlov, for example, the Prague clock. Funny enough, I've just been to Prague, and I have seen that clock in action. It is pretty cool. I was expecting more of a show when it actually strikes on the hour. It's a bit meh, but it is a phenomenal looking clock. How the hell you read it, though, is the question. But the game based on it looks pretty cool. But I don't think I'll be getting a review copy for it at this rate, so I would like to. I'm certainly in trying to get hold of them and contact them, but if all fails, I'll just have to get it the normal way and hope, thank you, patrons. So yeah, it should be, pretty interesting. But yeah, by all means, I'm not really going to do the meet and play. I know Paul Grogan and a few other UK people are going to be there, so by all means, it's Saturday, October the 25th, from 2 to 6 in Sal Europa, which is kind of like this upstairs room just above the main entrance to Hall 3, I believe. And you can go there and meet some people, by all means. But I'm not going to go to it. For me, it was a waste of time and just not worth it. So I'm skipping that. But yeah, the Spiel app, make sure you download that. It is very useful. Everything on your app. The Wi-Fi is not fantastic in there, but it's better than nothing. But yeah, having the exhibitor list and all that stuff and the hall plans on the app is very useful. So it could have a better UI, but it's still a useful app. So just get that. It's better than carrying paper maps around. I pretty much use it now rather than paper maps. The hall plans, 7 halls, so yeah, quite a bit. Looks like they're using more of Hall 7 now. You enter through Hall 8, but now 7 seems to actually have a purpose. All the rest of the halls, as normal, lots. Oh boy, it's a big hall, it's a big space. Take those comfy shoes. Most of the big games are going to be in Hall 3, Hall 1, Hall 2, and Hall 4. They're going to be your main titles, but do not underestimate halls 5 and 6. They tend to have a few publishers that may be small, but have some hot games that you want to try out. So by all means, 7, I think, is probably just going to be merchandise and tabletop and stuff like that, like Warhammer and whatever. And so you can go into here and find out all those. So, there are some publishers that you probably won't recognize from this list that you're like, oh yeah, whatever. But then Bombix are in here. There's Horrible Guild, there's Oink Games, Sashi and Sashi, so they're always hyper popular. The Japanese ones, yeah, if you're into Japanese games, go to those ones early because you are going to queue for miles to get them and they're going to sell out quick. I personally don't go to them because I never know if the games are going to be any good, so I don't want to queue for a game and hope it's good. So I tend to miss out on a lot of the Japanese ones, but yeah, they're popular. Okay, swig. But yeah, get the plans off the site. What else we got? Exhibitor list. Yep, by all means. You can go search for them. So find out where they are, what booth they're on. Just to case in point, Dranda Games. So, David Game, Deep Cut, Deeder. I know I could do this a bit easier, but I'm just going to scroll. So, Dranda. So, Hall 3, 3H400. Okay, that's an easy one to remember. So, 3H400, which means Hall 3, H400. Okay. I think we're in the middle of the room on the right-hand side of the hall, so probably near one of the side entrances to Hall 2 and 1, I believe is where we are from memory. But yeah, so by all means, catch me there, and I'll teach you Jackpot. And we can chat on that. So, that's one way to meet me. If you're interested in trying Jackpot, it's a quickie little 30 to 45 minute game. I will teach you it nice and quick, and you can chat to me then. So why not? Okay, so there's that. Let's see, that's the gallery, the program. I don't really go to any talks, but by all means, if you want to go to one of the talks, you can. I personally never really get anything out of these, so not that big a deal. But certainly I would probably read the visit page, because it tells you about the tickets and opening hours. Tells you about storage and shipping and stuff like that. So they give you a few little rules. So here we go. Yeah, so backpacks and other transportation of games. To avoid accidents in the aisles, so-called Cajun backpacks must not be carried on your back. It is best to pull the backpacks behind you as well as rolling suitcases or other transport aids. Now, yeah, I did mention that I don't think you should bring trolleys and stuff. There's a difference between a rolling suitcase and a trolley. Okay, trolleys are huge and they take up a lot of room. A rolling suitcase, like for example, I have a rolling suitcase. I have one on wheels. It's a biggish one. I take it on holidays like I did for Prague. I will probably have one of those on me maybe the first day, or maybe all days. I might take it with me to the Dranda booth and then just stick stuff in there. Because I'll take stuff in that suitcase like clothing and stuff, and then once I've unpacked it in the room, I can use it at the event. That'll be fine, but I'm going to be mindful. I mean, if I'm pushing that around, it's vertical, so it's about as much space as me in terms of a person, and I'm going to be mindful of other people because I hate it when it happens to me. Costume rules, obviously don't take weapons. I mean, Jesus Christ, what kind of person are you? And all those, and obviously get along with each other. So basic rules. Storage and shipping, as I say, take my tips about just going back to your hotel for an hour. I mean, it's a good way to reset as well because it's quite overwhelming. It's a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff going on. But if you're going to spend a lot of days there, then take the time to have that hour. If you're only there for one day, then I can understand you don't want to leave it at all. That's your beef. That's totally fine. But you could, for example, go to their storage place. They do have a storage solution. They don't. What is it? In Hall 8. So you can store it. It costs several euros per bag. Like €5 basically per bag and handling fees and stuff. But yeah, it's not bad. It's a good way to store some bags. So if you don't want to go back to your hotel and don't mind spending a bit of cash, there is that option. I'm not a big fan of the mailboxes thing. In Hall 7, basically you're able to ship your stuff by to directly to your home. I find it's pretty expensive though, because I mean, for example, like Great Britain, if I want to ship 5 kilos worth of stuff to Britain, it costs €44. Like, €44. That's like what? £40, or something like that. So 40 quid to ship all this stuff. That is the price of a whole big game. Okay, just for 5 kilograms. Do you know how much some of these games weigh when you get them? It's an interesting idea, but it's just far too expensive. And if you live in Germany, I feel like you could just drive them back to wherever you live in Germany, frankly. But it's just too expensive. I mean, look at this world. If you live around the world, 5 kilograms could cost you €85. Is there anybody who takes advantage of this? I'm very curious, actually. Leave it in the comments. Do you use the shipping service at Essen? Because I can't imagine why you would spend that much money to do so. Maybe you have to. Maybe it's easier than transporting it back on the plane to the States. I don't know. You tell me. Anything else? No, I can't think of anything. As I say, those are kind of the general tips. Comfy footwear, bring snacks, be prepared to avoid Saturday if you can. Take an hour break, if that helps, in the middle of the day to drop your bags off and get some lunch and unwind, calm down, get some air, cool down, it's definitely worth it. In terms of snacks, rice crackers, the rice crackers you get for £1 at Asda or something, the chili ones, they're really nice to take. Fruit, fantastic, gives you a sugar hit, natural sugars, and tastes good. So apples, very good. Bananas can get squashed in bags. Oranges, if you don't mind peeling them or something, but yeah, apples, brilliant. I always like to take multiple bags of trail mix. Nuts are good. Nuts are good in general. It's energy and it's protein. But I like trail mixes with dried fruit as well. So a mixture of nuts and cranberries and sultanas and raisins, that kind of thing, in a bag. You can buy them at supermarkets easy enough. Take a bunch of them because they are filling. They are still got a decent amount of nutrition. And they're easy, portable, and taste good. So I find those to be invaluable at conventions. They give me a bit of everything. I mean, obviously, if you eat the whole bag, it's quite a lot of calories, but at least it keeps you full. So I always buy at least about 5 bags of those to take to Essen with me. Okay, anything else? I can't think of anything. Just be mindful of what bags you take, and above all, just kind of enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. It's a good convention. It's just quite overwhelming. It's, we are exhausted by the time it's finished. It's fun, but we're exhausted. Evening plans. I mean, I'm going to be, what am I going to do? I'm going to obviously play some games with Dranda Games crew. We'll have our team meal on one day, I think on the Friday, so that's me done for then. I'm going to stay all the way till Monday from Tuesday evening, so after the convention is done, I'll still be there on Sunday evening. Probably not doing that much. Probably just game with people. The Premier Inn or whatever it is in the middle of Essen tends to be a good hangout because Grogan and a few of the other creators are there. I'm going out for a meal on the Wednesday. I'm being shown some Arab food cuisine. That's going to be pretty sweet. I've not really had Arab food, in particular quantity. I may have had snippets or like I've individually ate the ingredients that make up Arab cuisine, but I'm hopefully going to go to a restaurant that actually specializes in it. And it's like, oh, cool, that'll be sweet. What else? Maybe a booth party. I think Thursday there's a booth party for Board and I think Board and Dice are doing a booth party, which is invite only, but that should be pretty good. I'm hoping to maybe see the guys at Fantasia Games at some stage. So I've got some evening plans. It's going to be a long, exhausting convention, but hopefully a fun one with no COVID this time on the way out. Yeah, be mindful. If you want to take masks, go ahead, but you're not enforced it. And I can't really take a mask to Essen. I got to do too much talking, so I just have to take a lot of ginger, a lot of. I should hopefully, if work hurries up and does it, be getting my flu jab voucher very soon. So I should have my flu jab before I go to Essen, and I'll certainly be drinking as much ginger as I possibly can. So yeah, do what you can to protect yourself from airborne viruses. Because I believe in my personal hygiene. Not everybody else does. But anyway, so carrying on with this preview. Oh my god, we're already up to 48 minutes. All right, well, this isn't going to take me too long, I suspect. Maybe another 20 minutes on this, or an hour and 8. But, yep, we're going to go into games. So I've already done one episode where I talk about games I'm looking forward to at Essen. Well, thanks to Tabletop Together Tool, I've actually managed to collate a bunch of games. Although, not many. Because, I haven't gone and shoved all on Prioritize because I thought I can't be bothered to keep clicking on it all the time. But not prioritized might as well be ignore. There are 1,234 games on this tool that allows you to look at all these games and decide whether you want to maybe want, need, and then you can print out all the details. You can link them to Board Game Geek. It's a very useful website. By all means, if you can register it, even donate to the PayPal to run it, it's definitely worth it. But there's a lot of games that I've put as ignore because a lot of games just don't interest me from this list. I mean, there's going to be children's games that I bulk straight out do not care about. There's going to be stuff in foreign languages that obviously I don't care about, but then there'll be a lot of games where I just look at the cover and I can just tell not going to be interesting, okay? Because first bite is with the eye. There's a lot of games. So I don't have a lot there. 2 need, 3 want, 8 like, 21 maybe. Limbo was basically, I think, a few that I put in Limbo to check, or maybe I was trying to, I can't remember why I chose Limbo, but they might as well be ignore. I've already extracted the ones out of there that aren't Limbo. So yeah, that's a lot. That's over 1,000 games that I have shoved as ignore. Some people go to Essen looking forward to everything that is printed. I don't. I've been doing this for a long time now. I know which games to spot that are likely to be a hotness or ones that are going to interest me and stuff, and I'm not going to check every single game and think, oh yeah, just because it has worker placement it's going to be amazing. No, it doesn't work like that. The first bite is with the eyes. You gotta have a good cover. You gotta have a respectable publisher, ideally. Maybe a designer that you recognize, and then you can look at things like, is the category and the mechanism stuff you want, and how much is it? I mean, is it going to cost £1 million to buy? Who knows? But, and a lot of the times I'll go, right, well, these are the choice stuff that I'm looking for. And then I think, right, well, as I'm walking around Essen, I might just spot something that looks cool. I'll walk by a publisher that I've never heard of, and it's just like, okay, what's this game? Tell me more. Yeah, it's not bad, not bad. Some of the smaller publishers are interesting to find, but I find those when I go to the convention. I don't get so hyped up over every game that's going to be released pre-Essen. That's just not my style anymore, and a lot of that is just because there's a lack of innovation in board games. We're not seeing enough innovation to, warrant trying to get excited. So I'm just going to quickly go through the list I've got here, and then I might use the preview list on the BGG webpage to highlight 1 or 2 others, or maybe get them in more detail. But these are the maybes. So for whatever reason, and I've also put maybes as stuff I've reviewed or I'm going to review. So, for example, I've got Ader's Dream here. gave it a positive review. It's not a maybe for me. Before I reviewed it, it would have been a want, right? Or a like. It's maybe because I've already reviewed it. I already have a copy. In fact, it is literally on my shelf right there behind me. So, yeah, okay, I like the game. I don't really need to be looking forward to it at Essen because I already have it. It kind of defeats the point. So, I'm just going to mention that if it's in my maybe section, okay? But Seven Wonders Dice. I like Seven Wonders. I think the idea of bringing the dice version to it is just milking a cash cow at this point. The Dice Tower review of it was kind of meh, not that desperate. So this is a very low end of maybe, but I still would like to try it and just see if it has any room to be in existence, frankly, because you already have Seven Wonders Architects as a really simplified Seven Wonders. So what's the dice one going to change? A Wild Venture. This one looks interesting from, was it Peaker Games, so it's kind of a spin-off from Fantasia. This is an interesting one. A 2-player game where you build up the engine and then dismantle them. So it's got that like Moon Colony Bloodbath style of play, but it's an interesting idea. I mean, 1 to 2 players, so I can play it solo as well. Nice and short. Interesting little artwork there. It's a interesting looking little card game, like a cool dual card game. And the idea of building up an engine to then dismantle it just seems quite cool. I am very curious, but I don't know much more about this game. It just looks interesting. The concept sounds cool. It's got some good production values in it. I like these little like miniature things. The bunny with one eye. Is he blind in one eye? I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to represent, but could be an interesting idea. So I'm looking forward to that. Ager's Dream. I've done a review. Go watch it. Aya. Children of the Sun. It's definitely a maybe because this is of the same ilk that is, Fabio Lopiano is he's not my favorite designer. I mean, he seems like a nice enough guy, I think. I haven't really chatted to him much, but he's done Kalimala, not the biggest fan. Ragusa, never played. Played Merv, that was decent. Merv was fine, not amazing. I sold it eventually. Not played Zapotec, but I don't really see anyone really talk much about it. Autobahn, fine, nothing amazing. Free Wing Circus, didn't like. Sancor, didn't like. Kalimala, as I said, didn't like. Shackleton Base, everybody else raved about it. I've already done a review. I think it's average. Above average, maybe, but nothing spectacular. Baghdad is on my table, so we'll see if that is a change to form. And he does a lot of these with Nestor Mangon as well. So, and then that's an expansion for Shackleton Burst and other stuff. So, so his games aren't ones that I cry about, like, a lot. But then you go to Nestor, is it Nestor Mangon? I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, I do apologize. But it looks like he's had a lot of influence on some other games. I mean, I like Newton. I don't like Darwin's Journey. I certainly do not like Lorenzo Ni Magnifico. But he does seem to co-design a bunch of stuff, so interesting. But yeah, suffice to say, it's not by pedigree that I'm going by this game. It just kind of looks interesting from, visually it looks nice and colourful, but then of course it looks like the driest game in the world, because let's face it, the other games weren't exactly the most thematic ever. But I liked Merv, I didn't like Sancor, so could this be a middle ground, or could this be the one that says, yeah, no, actually this is the one I love? But it's going to be a game with dry mechanics that's just, here's a way to get victory points. You need to bring something new to the table, otherwise you're just going to be generic like the rest. I need something unique from you, Aya. I know some people are like going mad because it's Fabio and it's a tool and it's this series, so everybody's like, yay, it's going to be amazing no matter what. But 60 to 90 minutes seems like a shorter game. I'll bet you anything that's actually going to be 2 hours, 2.5, but we'll see. And the setting, don't particularly care. Nothing here really talks about the mechanics. No, not really. There's nothing about the mechanics in this description. So what does it say on Tabletop Together? Area majority, point-to-point movement, set collection, tile placement. So basically a bunch of a bunch of Euro mechanics. I'd like to take a look at it, but I'm not that desperate. Class of 89, demoed, mainly from Patterson Games. Lufia is decent. I don't love it, but I like it fine. I've done a review on that one. Class of 89 just sounds like a cool idea, like a a set collection game, ladder climbing game, but themed around this whole sort of 1980s high school type things. I think all those words like Saved by the Bell and like just basically that kind of theming. Sounds like it could be a very cool thematic fun game, but it's only a demo, so there's not much else I can really say on it. Covenant. Devier games don't tend to put out a lot of stuff I like, let's be perfectly honest. So I think Devier's main game I like is Cities, and even then that's a 7 out of 10. But Sarah Shah from Board Games in a Minute, we get on very well. And she's been very hot on Covenant at the moment. She's been playing a few games of it down in the States, and she really likes it. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I'm hoping she'll get a chance to teach me it, but nothing about this game is really drawing me in. It's like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And it's already a very generic theme. Here's a dwarven clan and they do stuff against each other. Okay, great, whatever. Assign the dwarves to clans, to different tasks that allow you to explore the ancient halls of the ancestors and dig in the mountain, defeat the enemies, build buildings. Maybe it could be good. I don't know, but the board and everything kind of looks a bit abstract. I mean, for something that's like crying out about this like cool dwarven game, and it looks like there's a lot of pieces that you got to squeeze back into a small box. Definitely are not very good with box sizes, but a lot of this just kind of looks generic. The pieces look generic. The iconography looks a bit confusing. Nothing about it is screaming like, oh yeah, this is going to be an amazing game. But Sarah's been talking highly of it. And, we sync up on a few games. We don't sync up on some others, and certainly we do not sync up on TV choices. But hey, no problem. But yeah, our TV tastes are very different. But yeah, I don't know. I'll try it. I'll try anything once, but this is literally just going by her recommendation, nothing else. Emberheart, Mind Clash Games. Oh my god, this is going to be a mammoth, huge game. Nope, it's part of their Mind Clash Play series. This is meant to be a much easier game. I have pre-ordered this because they were selling it pre-order for only like £30. I don't care how simple this game is. £30, and that's a bargain for any game that you get at Essen, particularly for Mind Clash. So, pretty cheap. It's worth a go. 60 to 90 minutes. Rescue and train dragons, rally heroes, and make a stand against the dragon poachers. So this is basically Mind Clash's version of how to train your dragon. So, okay, that's a pretty interesting theme. I'll go with it. I'm not a massive dragon fan, but this is different than other dragon games. It looks very pretty. I like the artwork choice and stuff. It's got a nice, colourful scheme. Is it truly a very simple title? Is it going to have enough variety? I don't know. I know very little about the game's mechanics, but it looks very pretty, and Mind Clash can do some good games. I have some on my shelf. They just make them stupidly complicated and impractical. So could this be a game that's a lot more practical and still just as fun? So I'm curious. But for £30, it's definitely worth a try at least. Epona. Delicious games. They put out some cool games I like, but then they put out some meh games. Vladimir Suhi. Again, I've already explained I have a love-hate relationship with Vladimir Suhi games. But Epona, I don't think there's much on this game at all. There's no reviews. There's nothing. I don't even know there's rules. But it's mainly the theme. Breed your horses. So it's a tableau building card game. 1 to 6 players seems like a bit of a large breadth of player count. I bet you that playing it with too many players is going to be a problem. But you're an equestrian entrepreneur in 1920s Europe to invest and breed horses. Okay. So you get stables, hire staff, equipment, training arenas, racetracks, and different horses. Could be an interesting game. Theme-wise, I'm definitely up for this. It's just something a bit more unique. We don't typically have like horse training games. The artwork looks pretty sweet for Delicious Games, who don't tend to do particularly good artwork in their games. Do we really need to talk about Ray Foster or whatever it was called? Okay, all right, maybe. Okay, maybe it's not stellar artwork, but it's colourful, it's pretty. But it's gonna have cute pictures of horses on it. Lovely, cool horses. So, theme-wise, I'm interested. What have we got? Fair Swamp. Oh my god, is everybody going mad on this one? This one is being hyped up like crazy. In fact, where is it on the thumbs list? It's 4th. So this is literally 4th on the BGG thumbs list, below SETI Expansion, Recall, and Orlodge. Or Orlodge, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the clock one. Okay? So why is this one being heralded? Because when you look at the game, it's done by Fractal Yorgos publisher or whatever. I don't think it's that well known a publisher. Let's have a look. Fractal Yorgos, I'm not sure. From Chile. And mostly they've just reprinted other games. So I mean, there's only so much unique. The cover is okay. I mean, it's a nice-ish cover, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, although it is illustrated by the Miko, so it's going to have pretty good art throughout, at least. So why is this one being heralded? Because even the mechanics don't sound amazing. I mean, 4 rounds, income phase, turn phase, maintenance phase, position your clan's workers to take actions to get victory points, whatever. I mean, this is like, generic sounding, but, and what is it? Re-implements a game called Kaivai, which I've never heard of, but I don't even recognize that cover much. But this looks like a very abstract game, and it was ranked 5,290, and people weren't really talking a lot about this one. So yeah, why are people excited over this one? Well, I'll give you 2 names. I think it's 2 names, or certainly at least one. Was it Helger Ostertag and Anselm Ostertag? But basically the Ostertag designers. What is special about them? Well, look what else they designed. As we go on to this list, look what else they designed. Gaia Project, Terra Mystica, Age of Innovation. This is why this is hyped. This is the only reason why this is hyped. This is literally hyped because of those games. People are mad on the Terra Mystica Gaia Project and Age of Innovation games. I am very much meh now. I mean, I rated Age of Innovation a 6, and that's probably my favorite of the 3. Terra Mystica and Gaia Project would easily be a 5. They're average games at most for me. I'm not particularly big on those games. That's not going to get me excited for Fair Swamp then, purely because they made that. I mean, the game itself looks very abstract again. I mean, it could be interesting. It's a little bit more colorful, but I mean, it does look very abstracted despite this art. And despite the fact that Miko is illustrating it, the board does look a bit meh in terms of its look. It does look cheap compared to what the Miko is capable of. But it's literally just hyped up because of that connection to Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. And it's like, well, that ain't going to get me excited. I'll try it. If it's cheap enough, I'll buy it and give it and try and do a review for it. But as far as I'm aware, this one's going to have very limited stock. Like, they're barely going to take 100 and something copies along, and they'll release them all on the same Thursday. So it could be one that just sells out within minutes. If so, whatever. I'll wait for it to get a retail release and try it then. But nothing about the mechanics is grabbing me. The designer link means nothing to me because I'm not fans of the Terra Mystica games. This one just has it's screaming a massive red flag to me as overhyped. Purely because of that connection. Designers can make your favorite game ever. They can also make your worst game ever. No designer is ever perfect. So, oh well, we'll see how this one turns out. But this one's going to be a hot one at Essen for damn sure. Flow. This was Pika Games. I had a demo of it last year, and it was one of the worst demos I'd ever been involved with. Wow, the person doing the demo had no idea how to run a demo. I'm sorry, but the girl just utterly failed at her job. So I don't know if I like this game or not. It's very pretty. It's got some interesting little card display and little mechanics and stuff, but honestly, I don't know if I like it or not because the demo was so bad that it put me off the game pretty much. I would like to try this again as a proper game. Maybe I'm not going to really look at it at Essen much, especially if it's just a demo again. I kind of just want to play the finished project at this point because it looks absolutely beautiful. The artwork in that is gorgeous. But I need to play it and either do the rules myself or get someone better to do the demo because it was a shambles last time. Not going to happen. This is going to be a long episode. All right, we'll just make this a bumper-length episode. Whatever. Okay, what do we got? Arnak. This is the chest. The chest is a great storage solution. The 2 new boards are great. But if you like Arnak, you're going to get these. So what more do I need to say? Luthier. I've done a video on it. By all means, go check it out. Energy Empire. I love Manhattan Project, the Energy Empire game. I've got it on my shelf. It's a really solid worker placement game, underrated. I am a little bit two minds about this one, though, because it might introduce some cool stuff. It might streamline one or two things. You know, it might make it a little bit easier on the graphic design, although the graphic design wasn't exactly bad in the previous one. But I am not liking the look of this art choice. This art choice, I think, is worse than the previous Energy Empire game. It might make it a little bit cleaner on the iconography in terms of the card thing, so that is probably the plus point, but I don't know, it's not perfect, but I mean, your board looks so much better in the previous version. The components could be better, I don't know, but it's a great game. If this is the only version you can get, then by all means, just get this version. It is a solid game, but I don't like this art choice. I mean, that cover, you would never pick up that game off the shelf with that cover. It just looks bland. It's got the clean look. It could be good from a graphic design look, but I don't think the artwork suits this game. I mean, look at the previous version. That cover has already got like more going on just by that cover, the Minion Games version. But then, the board itself, looks more colorful. Right, these are just the components. So I'm not saying the other one looked like an absolute beauty. But, there was a bit more color. It was still pretty easy to read. The cards were solid enough. The dice were pretty cool. These little custom dice here. I don't know. I mean, am I going to want to buy this new version to update my older version? I think these cards are perfectly nice. These cool little color pictures and stuff. Yeah, your map's a little bland, but it doesn't exactly look much better in a new one. It's just... I mean, the old one wasn't exactly a massive looker, but it was still a really solid game. Am I that interested in this new version? I don't know. I think I'm going to have to see this one up close. But also, £75 is a lot for this game. Your one did not cost that much. So, you're going to have to do something to justify that. But it is a really good game. Nature, I've done a review on this. Check it out. Perseverance. This might go back into ignore. The thing is, I did a review on episode 1 and 2 and found that they were too overcomplicated, too fiddly, too problematic in solo and stuff, and they were just impractical games. And even then, mechanically, episode 2 was better than episode 1. I found episode 1 to be lacking, but episode 2 was fundamentally more complicated and fiddly and God knows what else. These are going to be 3-hour games again, and I didn't like the way it was packaged, selling 2 games in one box, hoping that you like both games. These, again, look like insanely complicated games, with too much going on to be practical to get to the table much. They're going to take 3 hours plus. They're going to focus too much on miniatures, which I don't think you need. They're going to be expensive. It's going to take up a ton of storage space. I mean, look at this. This is an absolute table hog right there. With a lot of small stuff that you got to see. And, last time I remember there were actions in the game that literally ranged from, oh, I've got this one action that takes up ages and gets me these cool combos. And then here's one of my 16 actions in the game and it's take 2 resources. Wasn't the best designs, I don't think, Perseverance Chapter 1 and 2. Well, there's Chapter 3 and 4. I'll try them, but other than that, I'm not particularly excited for these. I don't like this packaging method. I don't think we needed 4 games in this series in quick succession. It's, whatever. Recall, yes, I know it's second on the thumbs up list, but the fact of the matter is, this it's a different publisher this time around, isn't it? Yeah, it's called by Allion or whatever. But I know I've tried to do like review stuff, I think, with these people before and just not had much luck. I mean, when you give Revive a 6 out of 10, you're not exactly kept on the wish list for future reviews. So, it's like, you didn't give us a seal of excellence. Well, therefore, we don't want you to review our games. That's kind of an attitude a lot of people have. But this one is obviously hyped up like crazy because it's the same people who did Revive. It's definitely got a lot of the hex map, although that is a busy looking map. I can barely tell what's what there. That looks a little bit too busy for my liking. Slightly garish artwork. But is it any good? I don't know. I mean, it's got that typical action set of use a key card to activate an action box. I mean, whatever. It's basically your player board is going to have some funky action system that you can customize, a bit like the other one, which had the ridiculously weird tech trees in it, which was still fun, but like, Jesus Christ. This one could be cool. Another fun little combo engine builder maybe, but the fact of the matter is, Revive was a 6 out of 10 for me. I liked it okay. It was above average, but nothing amazing. Certainly nothing that deserved all that hype. This was an expensive game to pre-order. Yes, I know that getting this at the convention is going to be a pain. I know that there is zero chance they're going to let me have a review copy of this one, given my 6 out of 10 for Revive. So, yeah. The fact of the matter is, I've had to rely on the patrons to get this one to review, because I know that a lot of the patrons are going to want me to review this one. So I will check this out. Maybe this could fix a lot of the problems I had from Revive. You know, that would be cool. You know, keep the good stuff from Revive and improve on the rest. But, you know, we'll have to see if this one just manages to win me over. But, yeah, it was an expensive pre-order for this one. You know, it's a good £60, £70 to buy this one. It's not cheap. But, yeah, I decided to pre-order it when the web links came out so that I can at least guarantee I'm going to get you guys a review video for this one. Detailed or speed, I don't know. Typically, I prefer to do the detailed ones for these sort of complex ones. But then also, I have to accept that some publishers are giving me review copies of games, so therefore they kind of merit doing a detailed review for them. But ones that I buy myself, I have to decide, you know, detailed or speed, kind of depends on my time. But either way, I will give you my thoughts on this one. I'm just not super excited for it. Okay, Shallow Sea, I've done a review on that one, so check it out. Phoebe, I don't know how you pronounce it. Board and Dice, it's another T-titled game. Yay. I mean, it's difficult to get excited over the T games. I was kind of happy when that series was dying. The fact that they brought it back is kind of a bit for me. This looks very abstract. I mean, here's a two tracks you level up, a grid where you put tiles on. I mean, it looks interesting from a production standpoint, especially as these tiles. Is this a dual layer board? No, it's not. But I don't know, it looks like you can create a funky looking city in there. But I don't know if I'm going to like it. It's designed by David Turksey, so it's definitely going to be a thinky man's game. But I've heard claims that this one is not going to be a, you know, complicated solo or anything like that. So that would be cool, because he does some good solo designs. Just need them constrained a little bit, and they can be perfect. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about this one. I'm not particularly interested in its setting. You know, tasked with rebuilding the Cadmere, the Citadel of Thebes. Never heard of it. While restoring the city exports. Well, I know Thebes, but I don't know Cadmere. All right, so praying to the gods, protecting the lives of citizens, whatever. It's going to be a way to get victory points. Use a citizen die. May get more scoring opportunities. I don't know. I mean, it's Board and Dice. It's another game. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a review copy of this one when I go meet with them. That'll be the hope. So, yeah, I'll be likely to give you my thoughts on this one. I'm just not... It's not screaming out to me as, oh yeah, this is a must-play. Tianxia, I have the game here. I'll give it a try. I mean, it's basically looks like it's copying the Great Wall that Awakened Realms did, but it's just basically a Eurofied game. Looks colourful. Hopefully it's not too complicated. Mark Monk has told me that this is kind of a step up above something like White Castle. It's not that complicated, so hopefully not too bad. I've unboxed it. I have not had a chance to play it. We'll see if it's any good. But I can't guarantee I can get you a video before Essen. That's the only thing. I got a lot of games to play and not a lot of time to play them. Yeah, so we'll have to focus on what I can. I mean, Baghdad has got priority because Baghdad is a review copy that has to be done. And I can't do the one by Garfield Games because I'm not allowed to say anything about it. So until they announce it, I can't even really... I can try and play it, and I'm going to be demoing it at GridCon for Paul Grogan and that, but I can't say anything about the game at all. So... my hands are tied on that one. And the other ones are not review copies. So, I mean, Baghdad is getting the priority at this point. Okay, so that's Taxia. And World Order. I mean, this is demo only, so there's no review copy of this one. But I played it once before, and I wasn't that bowled over by it. It just felt like a multiplayer Twilight struggle. You know, the idea of putting cubes on the continents for area control for points is... boring. It's a boring concept. It's like, yay, I get to put cubes on these places, yay. I mean, really, the main stuff I was into when I tried it was the card system. You know, the cards that you collect and play. They're cool, because that was one of the cool aspects of Hegemony. But the problem was, I didn't really feel that different being the European Union compared to the others. I mean, yeah, you might have slightly more tanks. I'm supposed to be this diplomatic focus group, and yet... for some reason, it didn't feel like I could do much more of it in any other place. So there wasn't enough differentiation between the four factions, in my opinion, from that demo. These cards were okay, but they were not the most interesting cards ever. It just felt like it was more a case of put cubes out, put a few tanks out, and that was about it, really. I don't know. I need more. I need another demo of this to see if it could win me back. But I don't know. This might just not be a game for me. It's weird. I mean, Hegemony is one of my favorite games of all time, and this one just kind of left me very hollow when I played it first time, despite the fact that Grogan and a few others seem to love it. But I don't know. Give them anything that's about cube pushing and they'll love it, I guess. I mean, what's the other one that he's interested in? There's a few of them interested in Nippon. Something, yeah, Nippon, which I played once. I think he actually taught me it a while back. And, yeah, this one. So, Nippon is getting a reprint, which I think is that. I mean, it's only came out in 2015. It seems a little bit. Actually, no, that is quite a long time ago, actually, 10 years. Yeah, actually, maybe it is time for a re-implementation. Fact of the matter is, though, he taught me Nippon, and I found it to be fundamentally boring. I mean, I'm not sure there was anything in it I really hated. It was just bland looking. It was just a bland theme. It was a bland board. It was bland mechanics. It just was boring. That was pretty much all I can say about it. And yet he loves it as one of his favorite games ever. Go figure. Different strokes, different folks. Right, well, that's all the maybes, and I'm already up to an hour and 20 minutes nearly. So, but that's because I got a lot of stuff in the maybes. There's not a lot in the other categories. I mean, we've got 8, 3, and 2. So there's not much left. So the like categories. So these are games that I'm interested in. I would certainly like to try them, but I'm not getting crazy hyped about them. Well, Baghdad, I have played it once. I did enjoy it, but I need to play it properly, learn the rules, and try it with new people, play it solo and stuff. But so far, so good. But that was after one game, so it was good first impressions. It needs to hold up to repeat plays now. Coming of Age, Ludenova, Danny Garcia. This one sounds good from the theming. I don't know if it will be good mechanically, but you start the game as a child, limited set of interests and skills, and then you develop your progress, get new interests, more independence, and basically tell your life story, in a sense. Fall in love, manage frustrations, whatever, and stuff like that. It looks to be a very colourful game, with some cutesy artwork in that. But the theming of this game is a cool theme, and it's giving me heavy pursuit of happiness vibes. That alone is enough for me to have some interest in this game. Will it be any good? No idea. But, yeah, the theming is definitely enough to draw me in, that one. Forest Shuffle Dartmoor. I mean, reviews have been mixed for this one. I like Forest Shuffle now. I've warmed up more to it. It has problems, but I still enjoy it. It does need the expansions, though, particularly, I would say, Alpine. You can get Woodland afterwards, but I think you should get Alpine first. Dartmoor is a spin-off. It seems unnecessary to do a spin-off, but given that I am from the UK and live not too far from Dartmoor in terms of my parents and my home upbringing. I mean, I lived in Taunton, so Dartmoor is not that far off. But yeah, this will be something close to home, so from a nostalgic point, I'm definitely interested, and it's certainly going to have some absolutely gorgeous artwork if we're talking about the Dartmoor Hills and that. But it just seems unnecessary to have this spin-off. But will it basically be all the good stuff out of Forest Shuffle with the bad stuff taken out? I don't know, but I'm interested. Just not, like, going mad for it. Orlov, well, I'd love to get a review copy of this one. I mean, even sent them pictures of the clock. I said, like, you know, I'd love to review this game. By all means, get in touch if you want to chat more. Here's a video I took of the clock to show that I've actually been there and seen it now in person, you know, so I do want to try it. I mean, this is now the most hyped up game on the BGG list. I mean, overtaking Recall, so I'm glad it is. I don't know if they're going to have limited copies or not, but if I can't get a review copy of it, I think I'm going to have to make this one of my first purchases there, because I think in order to guarantee I get this, I'm going to have to make certain I go and hunt it down. But I've tried to contact Periloco Games, and I'm just not getting any response to emails, you know, and I've not seen them advertise for years and that either. So they're keeping their cards close to their chest, or they're basically just going, we'll give something to Dice Tower, Rado, shut up and sit down, and that's about it. So, you know, the ones that are going to like it anyway. But it looks cool. It's a very funky looking board. It's a cool theme. I don't know much about its mechanics. But it does look pretty sweet, and it's based on a very cool, piece of architecture. Uh, but yeah, you take on the role of a master builder competing to leave your mark by adding the legendary and majestic calendar to the ancient inn. God knows how the hell that works in a mechanical sense, but uh, take place workers on the clock's dial to gain resources in addition to hiring assistants. I mean, is the clock going to move? Is it going to be a bit like Zolkin, where it turns and you get to do cool stuff? I don't know. I mean, this could be a fundamentally boring game at the end of the day, but it could be really cool. I mean, Periloco games, I don't think I've done much in the past. Have they done anything? A few games. I got Satori was popular, I think, in one year, but that's about it. Have the designers done anything much? We got Abraham Sanchez Hamida. What's he done? Literally, I think this is a second design. Unless Virus Rolling Right is coming afterwards. I don't know. No, this might be like his second design. Okay, what else we got? Who's the other designer? Paloma J. Pascual. Oh, okay, so it's male and female. This is pretty cool. Spanish. Work together on the other one, so it's a pairing. And they are working on other games. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much a second design. So I am still kind of curious why this one is so hyped. Is it just purely because that cover is really nice and it's based on a very popular landmark? If so, I'm surprised that that's enough reason to make a game super hyped. But it does look cool from the pictures. And the clock is cool. I have seen it. I videoed it in motion. It's a very cool it's a very cool clock in a very cool city, with very cool beer. And that alone makes me interested to have a look at it. So maybe it is that effect. But it may be one that I'm just going to have to run and gun for to make certain that I can give this one a fair review and give my honest thoughts on it. Is it worth all this hype, or did people get excited for nothing? Okay, Revenant. I've already demoed this last year. I liked what I demoed. If I do another demo, then what the hell, to see if anything's changed. But I backed this on Kickstarter in its did I back the full deluxe version in the end? I think I did. I might regret it. I might have backed some of it. Actually, no. Did I back a reduced version of it? I don't think I wanted miniatures for everything. Or maybe I didn't take miniatures, because honestly, miniatures of this game is not desperate. I can't remember, but either way, I was, this is what I wanted Voidfall to be, right? Revenant has that Voidfall look in universe, okay? But this is a much more interesting game. I mean, firstly, it's going to keep it to a 2-hour time frame. Maybe 2.5 tops, which is down still at least 3 days shorter than a Voidfall game. It's got like the cool spacey theme and that, but the idea that you're playing a worker placement game on actual ships that move around the board in order to gain, favor with certain factions as you're being blown up by the Void Spawn, and you're kind of working semi together, but not quite. I mean, you've got your own agenda and stuff, but sometimes you might be like, well, I want that space. You and I can go kill these Void Spawn. That'd be cool. But it's still like doing a worker placement in the middle of a space battle, and occasionally somebody can jump drive the ship to a whole new sector like Battlestar Galactica. I mean, man, theming-wise, this is brilliant for a Euro worker placement game. It works so well as a theme. The demo was so impressive that I wanted to back it and give this one a proper try. But I put it on my like list, so if in case they've changed anything, I can get more information on it or something. But yeah, I would give this one a demo, guys, because honestly, this one kicks Voidfall's ass. Sanctuary. I've seen pretty mixed reviews for this. I mean, this one would have been a want at one point. It's now downgraded to a like. Furlan Spiel seem unwilling to respond to any emails I have. I have sent emails about wanting to do a review copy of this. They know that I exist. They know that Ark Nova is my favorite game ever. You would think that they would respond to an email saying, I would like to review your spin-off game of one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, obviously, I'm going to give this a fair review. I'm going to, if it's rubbish, I'm going to say it's rubbish. That's how I roll. But you would think they would probably think, what? This guy really loves our game. Maybe this is worth giving him a review copy. But just not seeing any word from them. Too small, not enough subs, too prone to giving negative reviews rather than just all positive. I don't know. But then, to be honest, Dice Tower kind of eviscerated this game. So, I mean, they didn't hate it, but they weren't big fans of this game, at least some of them. So, I wouldn't exactly say you got lucky with that one either. But I want to try it. it's going to be a different game to Ark Nova for sure, but it's still zoo themed. It's still got the action card mechanism that I like. It's just, have they dumbed it down too much? Or is it going to be balanced enough? Is there going to be enough going on? I don't know. But, you know, it's going to have the cool artwork and the tiles, and it's going to be a bit more spatial awareness and stuff. So I'm down for it. I really want to try it, and I intend to go grab a copy of this one way or the other. But, yeah, the mixed reviews for this are leaving me a little bit worried. But we'll see. Could Ark Nova have just been lightning in a bottle? You know, like the original Ghostbusters film and stuff like that, you know? Could it just be one of those things that just turned out great, and you're never going to get it as great again? We'll have to see. Okay, Sniper Elite, the expansion. I should be getting a review copy of this at some point when they finish it anyway. They've been in touch. I've chatted with, you know, at the Games Expo, I chatted with them. And I'm pretty certain I will be getting a review copy of these expansions because I still have Sniper Elite. It's still my choice game for Hidden Movement 1 versus All. So much so that I'm actually trying to sell my copy of Spectre Ops now. You know, that's hopefully going to go in a bring and buy very soon. So Sniper Elite's the one that I'm picking to keep. So yeah, I'm down for more content. And Speakeasy, I have still not had a play of this game. People have asked me, what do you think of Speakeasy? I've not had a chance to demo it. It's been at places like GridCon and that, but it's been very limited spaces. And obviously, I don't preview games very often, so I've not been asked to look at this game in detail. Eagle Griffin don't respond to any emails I send. You know, they don't, you know, acknowledge my existence, it seems, so they're not really sending me any review copies of games. So, you know, this is one that I'm going to have to try and find a way to play. But the only way I'm going to find a way to play this one is by spending £1 million on the game when it's finally released to actually review it. So we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll be lucky enough to get a review copy of this when it's on retail. But, you know, I don't preview games very often, so I don't expect to be able to preview this one properly. It's just going to have to be a case of, if I get a chance to play it once with somebody's prototype copy, then great. I would certainly love to try it. But otherwise, this might just be a case of wait and see. But if it is at Essen, and I do get a chance to slot into a demo, I'd certainly be up for that. Alright, well, that's the ones I like. So there's only 3 that I want very quickly, and 2 of them are expansions. Yeah, you can see where this convention is going, can't you? You know, the games that I'm looking forward to more are expansions. But Castle Combo. I'm curious how you can really expand this game. This one seems a bit like, huh, how does that work? You know, the game already seems pretty good on its own. Are you going to dilute the card deck? Are you going to make it too complicated to be a symbol game? I don't know. Will I be able to fit the stuff in the original box? Because if I can't fit everything in one box, that's a fail. But we'll see. Castle Combo is a fantastic filler game. I've done a review video. Check out my thoughts on it. So, an expansion, I definitely, for cheap price, I mean, what is it, £6? Is that literally €6? Is that literally all it is? So this is going to be like a tiny little thing. What is this? 12 new cards and a new rule. Wait a minute, is that it? It's literally just 12 cards. Okay, so this is a mini expansion. Alright, so this is barely even an expansion. Well, maybe I could take it down to like... I mean, I'll leave it on 1 because at the end of the day, I do want it because Castle Combo is a great game. If it's only 12 cards, at least it'll fit in the box, but... yeah, one of my wants is a £6 mini expansion. Oh boy. March of the Ants. Now, Tim Eisner has said I should be getting a review copy of this one, but God knows where it is in the post. I haven't even had a delivery confirmation of this one. I'm sort of chasing them up on emails, but I feel like I'll be getting this one as a review copy at some point. But then if he's at Essen, I might be able to get one there. I don't know. But yeah, I should be getting a review copy of this one to look at because I do like a lot of the stuff from Weird City Games. They're nice games. But I'm very interested in this one. The theming of building an ant colony. I mean, I'm not a big fan of bugs. You know, I hate spiders. In fact, that spider up there has not moved the entire time I've been doing this thing. So you just stay up there, spider, okay? Won't get the Hoover on you, but you bug me when I'm playing my games later, and I'll be able to pay. But, yeah, the March of the Ants, you know, this theming does sound pretty cool. I never played its original version, but the fact that you create this ant colony which will have different traits, and, yeah, it looks a bit weird when you create one that's got a mixture of, is there one that shows, yeah, I mean, these ones have got convenient pictures that match, but you could create one where they don't match at all, and it looks like some monstrous hybrid, but I like the artwork. I mean, the artwork is very pretty. I can see clearly what's on what tile. It really does look like, an outdoor ant colony. Yeah, here you go. So there's like this monstrous hybrid that you can create. But it's an aggressive area control game. And I'm normally not a fan of area controls as much. But if it's short enough and like the theming works with it, then I can get behind it. It's a cool cover. It's a cool theme. I think this, and if it's simple rules, this could still be a good amount of fun. I mean, how long is this game going to be? 60 to 90 minutes? That's good for an area control game. 1 to 5 players, I'll bet you playing this with 5 is not a good idea. The fact that there's a solo mode sounds pretty cool. I can't see this working as a 2-player. I mean, it does say best 3 to 4. I suspect this is probably going to be a 3 to 4 player game for the most part. But yeah, to play a kind of 4X nature game with revised mechanics, I mean, this is another thing that's re-implementing the old version, which means that you can take feedback and improve on the bits that didn't work in the original. But yeah, production-wise and art-wise and theme-wise, this has got a lot that I'm interested in. I'm hoping that this is a really cool game. I look forward to getting a copy of this and giving you my honest thoughts. And then what else we got? Windmill Valley Blooming Sails. This is an expansion to a game which is on my shelf somewhere. Pretty certain I still have a copy of Windmill Valley. I just can't for the life of me place where the hell I've put it. There it is. Yeah, right down there. So I still like Windmill Valley. It's a very simple game, but it's very colourful and streamlined, and it just works. It's a nice little thinky game. But an expansion, I'm down for it. But the main reason I'm down for this is because this is meant to improve on the sailing, the foreign trade action, because the designer, I think, has gone on record to sort of go, this is to improve the underappreciated foreign trade action. It's not underappreciated, it's just a sucky action. There's usually a better action to do with all the other actions. Foreign trade is usually the last thing on my mind. I can usually play the whole game never taking the foreign trade action and still win just fine. It's not a good action overall, and it's a boring action. It's not particularly interesting. Well, this one is meant to now significantly change how that works. You now sail with the ship between ports and can spend tulip bulbs for various rewards. Moreover, the position of their ship determines the benefits they may gain when advancing on the calendar, the game timer. The calendar is now updated and allows players to choose if they want the regular or expert variant. So, some little changes. But this is an expansion that is of the type that I'm interested in most, because expansions that just add variety are quite cool. Expansions that just add more mechanics for more mechanics' sake are usually a bit of a problem. This is an expansion that is fixing a fundamental flaw of the original game. Those expansions are great. We'll talk about another one in a minute. But, so this one is taking an action, which is a weak element of the previous game, barely used, not particularly interesting. It's a flaw. I've mentioned it in the review. I've done a review video of Windmill Valley, and even when demoing it, I'm like, this action kind of sucks mostly, but occasionally you might do it. So this one coming in and saying, right, we're going to change how this works. We're going to make the game timer more interesting, and you're now going to like this action to put it on par with the rest. If this does exactly what it says on the box, it could elevate Windmill Valley up a whole other point. It could make it fundamentally better. So this expansion I'm excited for because I want it to do just that. Also like this picture as well. It's a very nice picture. I mean, this game is very nice to look at. It kind of boggles my mind that this actually comes from Board and Dice. And what their games look like, sort of palette-wise and that. But the fact that this one looks so colourful, it's kind of like, are you sure it's Board and Dice? I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely want to see if this does what it sets out to do. And then that just leaves 2 needs. And one of them you may not have expected, the other one you definitely expected. Of course I want SETI space agencies. I am salivating at the mouth for this one. I mean, it's doing again what I just said about the other expansion. It's going to add some more variety, which more alien powers and stuff like that is going to be great. But adding like unique setups, great. A bit like Prelude for Terraforming Mars. You're going to get unique asymmetric factions. You're going to get Prelude-style setup cards, which basically take out round 1 and make it a 4-round game. So you get into the action a lot quicker. It doesn't necessarily shorten the game timer as much, although I still think it's going to shorten it a bit, because taking out an entire round, yes, you can get more done, but I think just getting a little bit more done each round is still less time than having a whole other round. It didn't need to be a 5-round game. So that is a great fix if that pulls it off. But look at that. I mean, yeah, asymmetric start, 11 organizations that you can play. 11! 11 asymmetric factions. I would have expected them to put in like 6, but 11. That's amazing. 21 quick start cards. So decent amount. I mean, Prelude didn't give you that many. 3 new alien species. I don't know what the hell these alien species are. I mean, this one looks weird with this sort of color palette wheel. I know a little bit about the theming of the middle one, which is kind of I think doom and gloom, Necronish monolith in space kind of thing. But I mean, it looks quite cool. I have no idea what this green one is. I have deliberately tried to keep it relatively spoiler free. My knowledge of this expansion. More cards, more variety. Solo compatible, great. The solo mode's pretty cool. But the signal new scanning mechanic. So this is meant to make, because scanning works in the original game, but you've got to play it in a specific way compared to the other two. And people forget that focusing on one aspect of the 3 main paths in SETI is not always the best idea. It does want you to do a bit of everything. You've got to be opportunistic. Games I have won of SETI usually involve me diversifying, because if I have a chance to land on this planet, great, I can go do that. But if there's a chance for me to play this card that lets me scan 2 signals, that allows me to nab 1 or 2 winning victories on the scanning systems, I could be doing that with the space of 1 or 2 actions in the game. You might have spent several actions scanning to get data tokens. I feel like I've done better than you in that respect. So you gotta be opportunistic. But if the scanning mechanic now improves the scanning mechanic in the original, particularly with 2-player counts, 3 is fine, 4 is fine, but 2 players kind of was a bit lacking with the signal aspect. So if this fixes that aspect, it does what the Windmill Valley one is going to do. It's going to take a flaw of the original and make it better. And I already just about gave it a 10. I mean, it could have been a 9 out of 10. It just scraped a 10 out of 10. I do love this game. This expansion could basically say, yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 without any question. It wouldn't leave me with any doubts. Want this expansion, want. And yes, review copy should be on the way. Also with Wispwood, I think. Should be taking a look at that one. But I'm not terribly excited for that game, but I'll certainly give it a look. And then finally, as I take a drink. As I take a drink on this podcast that has lasted an hour 39 minutes. Holy this is the final game to talk about, Valheim. Oh yes. Now, will I be getting a review copy of this game? Hope to God I will. I have spoken to the people at Mood Publishing. I think I'm getting a review copy of this one, but I need to chat to them more at Essen, I suspect. Maybe they'll have a copy there for me to grab. But oh god, yes, do I want to play this game. I mean, Mood Publishing basically did Deep Rock Galactic. And if you want to check out a review video for that one, yes, I have backed, yes, I will hopefully get the expansions to review when they fulfill, like I've already reviewed Space Rig and Biome. The new ones that have just kickstarted, I hope to review those when they come out. That would be cool. I'll definitely try to do Beyond the Base Game videos on those. But yeah, Deep Rock Galactic, one of my favorite games, top 10 games. This game is the theme done justice in tabletop form. It is, it's got flaws, it's got some warts, but the positives outweigh the negatives. It's just such a good representation of the IP, all right? On par with some of the stuff that Glass Cannon Unplugged can do with theirs, if not better. So, Mood Publishing taking another game that I have connections to, because not only do I play Deep Rock Galactic now and again, although I haven't played it in a long time online, it's just, it's only got so much content for me now, but man, did I sink a lot of hours into that game. Valheim, yep, me on Sunday nights have played quite a bit of this, so, we're excited to see if this represents the tabletop, the computer game. Now, I do have some concerns because I'm curious how you can do it. I mean, I'm looking at this board state here, and it's not crying out Valheim to me, from what I know from playing the actual computer game. So, I need to play this to be sure, and as much as I am wanting this, like this is on my want list, I do have to temper my expectations, because I think Valheim's going to be a little bit trickier to bring to tabletop than, some of the other game choices from the ones I play. but they did such a good job with Deep Rock Galactic, and they obviously want to pay homage to the theme of Valheim. Me and the mates is definitely going to have nostalgic connections and stuff. We hope that this is good. It's just going to be a trickier one. But of course, I cannot wait to find out. You know, whether I am amazed or disappointed, one way or the other, I need to play this. I need to find out if they can go 2 for 2, alright? So, definitely on the need list there. Right, well, there you go. After all that, that is my Essen preview, my official Essen preview. These are the games that, whether they are on the, okay, or the, like wagging dog tail type thing, is what I'm looking for at Essen. Not a huge amount of stuff that's new, that aren't expansions. I mean, that's just the way it is. There's not a lot of innovation in games anymore. So if you just come out with Euro game with X mechanics, yay, with this is about some historical medieval king, or King Charles Spaniel the 25th in Kazakhstan. I don't know. It's like, it's just not going to entice me. You're not going to get me excited for a game like that. And because, sometimes a publisher will release something and I'll be like, okay, that publisher's got pedigree. I mean, I mentioned it with Mood Publishing and Glass Cannon and that at times. So that can have an effect. Sometimes it could be based on an IP I like. That's enough reason for me to get me interested. But with a Euro game, does usually need a bit of work to get me interested. And you've heard me talk about some pretty unique themes there, like the coming of age one, that's a bit like Pursuit of Happiness style, those sort of themes. Even Orlov, to an extent, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, I've forgotten how to pronounce it, but, the clock, that as a theme does sound pretty cool for a Euro game. But will it be any good? I don't know. So, but then you get like the ones like Fair Swam and Recall and stuff like that, and Phoebe or whatever. And, I look at the description and it just feels like here's some bunch of Euro mechanics thrown in. I mean, Baghdad's got that as a description as well, but it does have some interesting little mechanisms in it, So these are games that I need to play. Like if you described Baghdad to me, chances are I wouldn't be like, whatever. But then you, as part of the mechanisms, you mentioned the card system, which is a bit like a simplified version of the Viscounts of the West Kingdom card system. I really like that mechanism. So when I knew that Baghdad had that mechanism in it, that elevated it to a point where I'm like, okay, could be interesting. The rest of it, if you just described that element to me without any context, I probably wouldn't have been that excited for it. But when I played it, it's like, okay, that mechanism I like. Let's find out. Somebody could release one of the most generic themes ever, but if they tell me it's got the action card programming mechanic out of Art Nova, I'm gonna bloody play it. So it's stuff like that. It can have an effect. But I'll be curious to know your thoughts. Get them in the comments. Are you going to Essen? You got any tips for people? By all means, put them in. People can learn from me as well as your experiences. What games are you excited for? Are there any games on this list that you are way more excited for than me? Are there any games that I didn't put on this list that you are super excited for and you think I should consider? By all means, I may have missed stuff, because you scroll through 1,000 games, you are going to skim a few. Maybe there was some that I missed that you think I should really be like, oh yes, go for it. In which case, let me know. I'll give it a look. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I just didn't think it looked that great, but really cool. Are there any games that are being hyped up that you think look like garbage? Is there a game that you're like, this is going to be terrible? Why is everyone excited for it? That'd be cool to read as well. But other than that, I'm going to get on with editing this and get on with the rest of my day. So this is a very long podcast. Hope you've enjoyed this little Essen preview. There won't be any more Essen preview stuff pre-Essen. What's the date today? It's the 5th. So the 12th, I'm going to be at Shake, Battle and Roll. 19th is the weekend before Essen. I may or may not do a podcast on the 19th. I literally leave for Essen 2 days afterwards, and I've got other videos to do, so no guarantee I will do a podcast on the 19th of October, okay? I'm just going to warn you of that now. But given that this is an hour 45 minutes now, I think, hour 45, I did take a couple of breaks to sort out my phone and switch the light on and stuff, but yeah, we're talking an hour 45 minutes here. I think you got plenty enough to mull you over for a bit, so by all means, I'll see you soon. So hopefully see some of you at Essen. If not, just take care, and you can look forward to some of the games that I'll be getting to review later. Take care. Remember, it's only a game. Bye for now.